Alright, so hello and welcome. You have no idea how difficult this is because I keep trying to record this, but my computer just keeps turning off. But hello and welcome. I'll be discussing this book by Jonathan Cahn called Return of the Gods. And he's a very smart man. I would really like for anybody to check out his books. He knows a lot of what he's talking about. And I haven't read any of his books other than this one, but I certainly will be. And he makes some completely good points. He is essentially talking about the demons that come into America. He talks about what he calls the Dark Trinity: Baal, Zeus, Baal who is Zeus, Ishtar who is Inanna, and all these things. Essentially saying that America was a godly nation that fell away and incorporated demons into its society, or allowed demons, or opened a door to them. Right? So here's what I'm going to be saying, and I'm going to be trying to go through this a little bit quicker. Just because this takes me forever, and this is the second time I've had to do this. But essentially, this is where my gripes start. The gods could only return if there had been a falling away from the Christian faith in a biblical worldview. No single event or date can be pinpointed as the beginning of that fall away. It was a process. So, this is where my gripes occur. Is that I think he's actually missing the biggest piece of the puzzle, and because this statement is fallacious in a way. Because he's assuming that these are exclusive ideas, that you couldn't have a single date or pinpoint, and it couldn't be a process at the same time. And the reason this is because my God is a God of nuance, not of our human understanding. He can do whatever he decides to do. It's not up to how we choose to believe him to be. And if you're familiar with my other videos on the Millennial Kingdom, that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what we're talking about. The Millennial Kingdom is a specific event. It does have a starting date. And it is a slow process of recession. Not to mention, from his perspective, he believes America was a nation that was founded under God's principles, but the people and government slowly turned away from God. But what I'm asserting under this premise is that Christ, or after the slow recession of time, and then you have people like Pope Sixtus IV taking that seat, and then you have the Spanish Inquisition, that America was a spot that is designated almost by Satan for deception. Reason being, you have to be familiar with my framework. So an angel come down from heaven, and a great chain is him. And he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. So Satan's going to be in jail, bottomless pit, for 1,000 years. Cast him into the bottomless pit, shut him up, set a seal upon him, and he should no more seduce the nations till 1,000 years be finished, and after that he must be loosed a little time. So something is going to happen, presumably what people call tribulation, end times, whatever. Satan is put into a bottomless pit for 1,000 years, and he gets let loose after that 1,000 years. So what is going on during this 1,000-year point? And what happens after? Well, I'm going to start with what happens after. When the 1,000 years shall be finished, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, shall go forth and seduce the nations, which are over the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, and shall gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they come upon the breadth of the earth and encompass the camp of the saints in the beloved city. And so, again, if Christ is either a liar, but he's not, he's the way, the truth, and the life. So what he's saying is, we are either prior to these 1,000 years, or after. There's no other option. There's no other option. Prior to the 1,000 years, or after. And so what exactly is going on during these 1,000 years? Essentially, here it is. And at least, or I'll start with this one, actually. It says, my apologies. It says, and the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid. The calf and the lion and the sheep shall abide together, and the little child shall lead them. The calf and the bear shall feed, the young one shall rest together, the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, the weaned child shall thrust his hand in the den of the basilisk. They shall not hurt, nor shall they kill on my holy mountain, for the earth is filled with the knowledge of the Lord, as the covering waters of the sea. So not only does this represent that, first of all, there will be multiple generations of this. The calf and the bear shall feed, the young one shall rest together. Again, I've already delved into the symbolism. Multiple generations of this. And it'll be people and animals of all sorts of predatory natures, sinful natures, ideas, whatever. But less but there's more cohesion. Like these guys can operate together. But these two lines are the most important to me at the moment. The sucking child shall play in the hole to be asked. The weaned child shall thrust his hand in the den of the basilisk. They shall hurt not, nor shall they kill him all my holy honor. Blah, blah, blah. And the reason this is important, again, asp, basilisk, these are hybrid animals, especially in other translations, it's cockatrice, hybrid animals. Demons are hybrids. Children of the Watchers, angels, women ended up becoming sirens after this. The children of them, massive giants. First, Titans. That's the first generation. Kronos, etc. Second generation, Zeus. These are all massive giants, and they're all dissimilar. They can be extremely good-looking, attractive, or they can have 1 eye, 6 fingers, 6 toes. So they could be whatever. They're all made dissimilar. And this is essentially, he says this. Let me go back to over here. It says, in the last days, the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be prepared on the top of the mountains. It shall be exalted above the hills, and all the nations shall flow into it. Many people shall go and say, come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall come forth from Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge the Gentiles, and rebuke many people. And they shall turn their swords into plowshares, and their spears into sickles. The nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they be exercised any more to power, or any more to war. And presumably, again, this is another description of what is exactly going on. And last days, mountain of the house of the Lord shall be prepared on the top of the mountain, shall be exalted above the hills, the nations shall flow into it. That's weird. What does that sound like? Well, what is that? That is my little New Jerusalem image over here. I forgot to actually pull it up, so here it is. Yeah, here's my New Jerusalem image. This cube right here is not just a cube. This is a 4-dimensional cube, presumably. This is the city of New Jerusalem. And why is this a cube? Cubes are extremely significant. As for why, how, not too entirely sure. But I do know the description of New Jerusalem is the description of a cube. It's the description of the dwelling place of God in the Ark of Covenant. Cubes are extremely important. Especially since when you can consider in Islam, they have the black cube in Mecca, which is, as I explained, different in purpose, nature, and composition. And you'll always find, I think, just like this black sun here, different in purpose, nature, and composition. But it's almost similar. And essentially what I'm asserting is that Jonathan Cahn is wrong to make his assumption that America was just this nation similar to Israel that was propped up by God and then later ended up falling away from Christ. Not what happened. That is not what happened. After the 1,000 years are finished, this is where the important part occurs. After the 1,000 years are finished, Satan is let loose to deceive the whole world. This is where it is, plain and simple. Let me put it up. 1,000 years shall be finished. Satan is let loose out of his prison, shall go forth and seduce the nations, which are over the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog. Shall gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. And they came upon the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints in the beloved city. I believe I actually know where this is, but I think I already explained that. I can explain it further in another day. But so all this shows is essentially once Satan gets out of the 1,000 years, once the millennial kingdom's over, and his 1,000 years is over, and he starts reigning, or Lucifer starts gaining a little bit of authority, or the ability to seduce the nations and create deception to try to get people to kill Christ again. He has a goal, clearly. He has a plan. He has things he's going to do. But it's also important to know that he's not God. He doesn't know the hearts of men. He doesn't know the future. He's just a really intelligent guy. So you'll notice sometimes he kind of puts things out there. And I can explain that at a later point. But he has a specific plan, a specific agenda. And this is why it's important for Jonathan Cahn to not miss things like this, is I think I know Lucifer's plan. I can make another video on this. Another video, way bigger in detail. But I think Lucifer's plan is to create a reverse Exodus. He's going to do the complete opposite of everything. And again, I can't wait to explain that in another video, but it's important to recognize that during Exodus, what was happening? It was the first mass faith event. And God, he loves to do things, but with his own precautions or parameters he's set in motion, he can't just go and be my friend Jesus and fix all my problems for me. Faith needs to be the prerequisite. And just like the Old Testament, or just like the Old Testament and the New Testament, faith was being laid in the foundation of the Old Testament, allowing the New Testament to exist. It was the faith used as a foundation. The Old Testament is the foundation led to the New. This is why it was fulfilled, because it was based on the faith of the predecessors. This is why Abraham is our father in faith. We could only have faith because he had faith. And reverse Exodus, this was the first moment, whenever Exodus happened and the sea split, it is said that the Israelites believed God and Moses. They didn't just listen to Moses. They believed God and Moses. And that's, again, the first mass faith event. But if Lucifer can take the Israelites, the remaining Israelite remnants, and do the opposite, use them to not only have self-grandiose measures or self-grandiose ideas, but godless ideas, and put themselves above God. And not only that, but through them being the original Israelites, convince others to discredit Christ and God, then I think Lucifer can create some sort of mass faith or undoing of faith. And I think the reason why, in my opinion, I'm sure I'm missing something, is because he does not understand the parameters of faith that Christ has. If he can create something where everybody partakes in having no faith, he completely redoes Exodus successfully, then, well, God, what are you going to do? He's trying to, in my opinion, he's trying to create a special circumstance. If he can create a special circumstance for everybody, maybe he can for himself as well. Or the alternative flip of the coin is God shows up and he's mad at him, or you were to debate him. Let's say anybody were to debate Lucifer, you figure out his plan. He'd say, well, me doing all this, it made you sinless, didn't you? So aren't I the purging fire that would be necessary for you to be who you are? It's a complex issue, but I will bring a larger point into this later. But it's important to understand why Jonathan Cahn is wrong about this, or where he's wrong about this, is he's missing the biggest piece of the puzzle. And the millennial kingdom is the biggest piece of everything. It explains it. There's not one single idea you can't tell me I can't explain to the millennial kingdom. So again, before I conclude this, I need you guys to read this book. And not only do I need you guys to read this book, but I need you guys to be able to establish truth while knowing higher truths. So if you're reading this, you can establish this is truth, but it's not the full truth. And you can even do that with me. Be able to not consider something as its full entirety. I am almost 100% dogmatic that Lucifer is going to try to create a false exodus. But I'm not 100% dogmatic on the steps he's going to take, how long that could happen, how long it could take, because he has no clue. I know he has no clue. He's trying. He's throwing shit at a wall. He's figuring things out. So, again, I'm going to close this video. This is another reassertion of my Millennial Kingdom framework. But please, give that book a read. Give the Millennial Kingdom a look into. Read into it. There's plenty of videos. Nobody has quite my framework of development. I haven't met anybody that has my full framework of development on the Millennial Kingdom. But there are some people that can really turn your whole life around with some information that they have. So please, do so. Because the Millennial Kingdom being over is probably the most important piece of history to ever exist. If you are still confused on the Millennial Kingdom, rest assured, my first video was on it. Just watch that, and it should explain. I still have more to come, but